I'm Ollie James. My late husband was John James Jr., better known to the family as Pap. Our son is John III. Our daughter-in-law is Valerie, and our grandson is Duncan. Duncan left last Thursday to become a freshman at Clemson, and we're all excited about that. My first memories of First Presbyterian happened when John and I were dating. I would come to Sumter every now and then from Winthrop, where I was a sophomore, to visit with John and his family. And sometimes when I was visiting, we would attend church. So that was my first experience with seeing this beautiful building and the beautiful window behind me. John and I got married July the 29th, 1967, and therefore I moved to Sumter for good. Not long after that, I became a Presbyterian. As a young child, I was baptized in the Methodist Church, so becoming a Presbyterian was very easy. I just had to remember, instead of saying trespasses, I had to say debtors. And every now and then it sort of gets fuzzy there, but I'm trying to remember. Some of the things in which I was involved over the years probably started, some of my first experiences started when young John was 2. They needed a 3- and 4-year-old teacher in the Sunday school class, so John and I volunteered, or Pap and I volunteered. We were very fortunate because at that time, as I said, young John was 2, and therefore we had him as a 3-year-old and as a 4-year-old, and we did survive that. But we taught in that class until our son John was a sophomore at the Citadel, and finally we felt like we were too old to do that anymore, so we moved on and helped with the Children's Extended Care Program. And it was in that program and also as a Sunday school teacher that we had John B. Hilton III. You would ask him what his name was, and he would proudly state his whole name. So that is a very fond memory that I have. Other things in which I was involved was along that same time, I became very dedicated to Vacation Bible School. In fact, I started when I think John was 3, and the last year that I participated, I think, was around 2015, 2016, and by that time, our grandson was 10 or 11, so I had seen a lot of children come and go out of our Vacation Bible School program. I also served 2 years as the co-director, which was a big education on many fronts. Other things that I did during this time was I taught kindergarten. I had forgotten that. I was on the education committee with Piercy Parker, and she convinced me that I could teach the 3-year-olds, which I did for several years. And again, too, it was a great learning experience and a great opportunity for me. After that, I served in many other ways. I served as pastor's aide for a few years. I also served as chair as Circle Number 1 for several years. I was on the diaconate, vice moderator 1 year and moderator another year. And it was through being on the diaconate that I learned about the outreach program. And I served on all 3 teams and was co-chair of team number 3. And that's where we would take dinner in to those residents at the Samaritan House. Other things that I did was John and I, or Pap, helped with hospitality for 7 or more years, and we thoroughly enjoyed that, especially Pap, because he got to cut the biscuits every morning. That was his main job, and he did an excellent job at doing that. Other things that I have been involved in is now I'm treasurer of my Sunday school class, the Bethany Church Sunday school class. They asked me to do it maybe about the second time that I attended, and John and I, or Pap and I, used to attend that class on every now and then when we weren't doing hospitality because our son John would rotate in to teach in there, so we felt like that we sort of needed to go in there and support him, and we enjoyed it also. Now I also work as helping with the backpack ministry at Alice Drive, and I'm a volunteer at the office on just about every other Thursday. Probably some of my fondest memories are from the times that I spent here with my family. John, my late husband, was baptized here. Our son was baptized here. Duncan was baptized here. And then John and Valerie got married here. So when I walk into this building, it holds a lot of good memories for me and my family. And talking about my family, young John has become quite active in the church. He has served as a deacon and is on the session now and has served on the session in the past. He does rotate on the schedule to teach Sunday school in my Sunday school class, but also in his, and he's been really active in the Stevens Ministry program. Valerie has taught kindergarten here. She taught Sunday school here. She's been involved in Bible school. So my whole family has been quite involved in this church simply because we feel at home and we feel welcomed. Talking about the funny things that happened to me is one year when I was working with Vacation Bible School, I had to welcome everybody each morning, and I was up at the mic all ready to go and up on stage in the fellowship hall. So I was right front and center, and I had done it several times already, so I wasn't nervous, but so I finished talking with everybody, and I happened to just glance down at my feet. I had on my red, old, beat-up house shoes. What had happened was I had gotten dressed, gotten young John ready, gotten all my stuff ready to leave, came to Vacation Bible School, but I had not changed into my shoes, which matched the green outfit that I had on. And you know what? Nobody noticed except me, or at least they didn't say anything. That's probably one of the things that stands out the most as being quite hilarious. As I've said, some of my most cherished moments is when my family was here, but also in working with the children, the Christmas programs, and back to the Vacation Bible School. We used to put on an end of the week program, and getting those little ones and some of the big ones together was always exciting. We never knew what was going to happen. The same thing when we taught 3- and 4-year-old Sunday school, we never knew what was going to happen, and so often John and I would leave, or whenever I was in Vacation Bible School, I would leave in a very good mood because something great or funny had happened. I want to talk a bit about my most influential people. The first person that comes to mind is Betty Brogdon. When I look at Betty, and I've been in this church for over 55 years, so I have been around her off and on, like at the women's council meeting, I would so often sit close to her, and then, of course, being in church with her. When I look at Betty Brogdon, I think of the person that I want to be. She has always been an outstanding Christian, a person that always made you feel better, and someone that would reach out and help you, and that's the person that has influenced me greatly. Another person is Beth Jackson. She has taught me the importance of prayer and the importance of being a good friend. And I'm sorry I'm emotional, but these two people have meant a lot to me. In closing, I'd like to say that over the 55 years that I've been a member of First Pres, my family and I have been through the ups and the downs, but yet we so know that this is the church for us. And then I don't think anybody could run us off. I mean, this is my church, our church, and I'm here to stay.